So I actually kind of want to talk about this for a minute here. In the state of Arizona, the winner of the Arizona Senate race could be seated in time to vote upon a Supreme Court pick. Chris, do you think that this is really going to speed up the possibility of Republicans moving forward? Because Republicans can really only afford to lose a few votes. And it already looks like we saw Susan Collins, who is one of the most vulnerable incumbents, perhaps not as vulnerable as Cory Gardner. We're going to have to see what he does. But Susan Collins already coming out and saying that she thinks that the person who wins the election should be the person to decide. Now, that might change, but that's what she's saying right now. I suppose, does this mean that Republicans are going to push forward faster than typical because they need Martha McSally's vote? Or what do you think this means?
I mean, it comes down to the numbers, right? So the magic number is what, four? They can have up to four dissents from the Republicans because they need 51. And oh, so is it three? Is the magic number three? Because the Supreme Court works the same way, right? Where Pence would be the tiebreaker. Like if he had to cast a vote,
Right.
he
Yeah,
would send it over.
The Democrats had used the nuclear option on judges, I believe.
So that means if they even have, so yeah, the magic number would be four, because even if they lose three Democrats and get down to 50 yes votes, then Pence will throw in his vote to
Right.
get to 51.
Right, but my point being is that there's other people to sort of worry about, or I should say that here's what I'll say: it's not going to be easy for McConnell in a way that I don't know that it was for Brett Kavanaugh. Like I think that they were able to sort of push through that vote a lot easier than this one may be, being that it's so close to a presidential election. But on the other hand, Senate did expand their lead. And this is where it gets really complicated because this could be another situation where it ends up being advantageous on the state level, which, talk about the Electoral College, but disadvantageous on the popular vote level, which is what we saw essentially in 2018, where it helped red states and it helped purple states who have been switching blue slowly, transitioning blue, which is the majority of the states that Democrats stand to have a possibility of picking up. But then in the popular vote, it was unpopular. So almost all polling at the time showed the confirmation of Kavanaugh to be a net negative. In fact, quite a significant net negative, and it probably did help Democrats pick up seats in the House. But it actually
Right.
hurt them when it came to picking up seats in the Senate because for those states, it ended up energizing Republican voters. And so it's a possibility. And of course, when we're talking about the Electoral College here, this could be a situation where this ends up helping senators and then, helping red senators and then helping blue members of the House and the popular vote as well. Chris, I mentioned to you the other day that this is exactly the kind of shakeup that Donald Trump needed, right? I mean, Donald Trump was almost certainly going to lose re-election. You look at almost all the polling and all the data going into it. Donald Trump was in a very, very bad situation going into the election. Voters were very concerned about COVID. Now voters have another thing to think about, and it's the kind of thing that even if it's a net negative for Trump, it's not a net negative in the way that COVID was or is.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt, right? Because he was in a pretty bad spot, and now he's got this, which it could be that people come out who absolutely hate Donald Trump, but they hate abortions even more than they hate Donald Trump, and then this is going to cause people to either support a senator or to vote, depending on when the timing of this comes, whether it's before or after the election. Um, I think it's hard because this is going to move so fast. I mean, we've got what, 5, 6 weeks,
Yeah,
45 days
Donald
or
Trump.
something like that. I mean, it's going to move quickly. And so there's all these strategies. A strategy to prepare for this happening before the election is different than your strategy for a vote afterwards. So it's almost like you're preparing for two possibilities, because it's not like you can wait till election night and then go, oh, now we got to prepare for this.
Right,
Like it's a
while
mess.
we were live on stream, the news broke that Donald Trump is officially announcing that he will be naming a pick early next week. So very,
Sure.
very quick, very, very quick, and that it will likely be a woman. I believe Barrett is her name. Amy Barrett is the name.
Yeah, they've been talking about
Is that am I?
her.
Yeah, Amy Corin Barrett. I had that right. She is a pick that's moving up to the top very quickly as a likely pick to replace Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So this is sort of her Wikipedia page. I don't know much about her, and obviously, last time around when we were talking about Supreme Court judges, we heard a few names float around, and sort of, we don't know, right? We don't know, right? And that Donald Trump would be picking a woman makes sense, of course. Replacing someone like Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
This is the kind of thing where Trump can immediately get his nomination out because he's not really picking it, right? These right-wing think tanks are putting a list in front of him, and they just say start at the top, start nominating these people, and he's just going to move down the list. These think tanks have done all his thinking for him, strategizing for him. They're going to put it in front of him. He's going to read it, and then McConnell's going to go to work, right? So this could move very, very quickly. I mean, the think tank, and it's not like the think tank started thinking about this just now. They've had this all ready to go as a contingency, for months and years, where they've got those lists ready to go, right? With the Federalist, what is it called?
That's one of them. The Federalist Society, the Heritage Foundation. There's a bunch of them.
So these groups already know who they want to put in there and who's strategic, and it's just going to streamline the whole procedure. And so then it's really just a matter of how fast they can push this forward and whip up the votes. It's really about checking the votes. So as soon as these senators can figure out, what it means for them in the upcoming election,